I never thought I'd be the guy typing out my life's collapse at 2 a.m., parked outside a 24-hour diner with my phone's glow as my only company. But here I am, April 1st, 2025, trying to make sense of it all. It started 3 months ago when my brother Marcus rolled back into town. His landscaping business in Nevada had tanked, too many bad contracts, he said, and he needed a soft landing. My wife, Claire, was the one who suggested he crash with us. He's family, Ethan, she'd said, her voice warm with that convincing tone I'd always trusted. I agreed. Marcus was my brother after all, and blood's supposed to mean something. Looking back, I should have caught the first hint of trouble. It was subtle, like a shadow you don't notice until it's too late. I come home early from my shift at the warehouse, some mix-up with scheduling, and found them in the kitchen. Claire was leaning against the counter, laughing at something Marcus said, her head thrown back in a way I hadn't seen in months. He was chopping onions for dinner, grinning like he owned the place. Normal enough, right? Except the second I walked in, Claire's laughter died. She stepped away from him fast like a kid caught sneaking cookies, and busied herself at the sink. Marcus didn't miss a beat, though. He shot me this smirk, sharp, crooked, the kind that twists your stomach but doesn't give you enough to call out. Hey man, just keeping your wife entertained, he said, winking. I forced a laugh, told myself I was overthinking it. Brothers tease. Wives laugh. That's how it works. But that smirk stuck with me. It was the first crack in the foundation, and I didn't even know it was there until the whole house came down. 3 months later, I'm sitting in my car replaying it, wondering how I missed the signs. Marcus moving in was supposed to be temporary. Claire's eagerness to help him should have been my first warning. Instead, I opened the door and let the storm walk right in. The weeks after Marcus moved in felt like walking on a tightrope I didn't know was fraying. Claire and I had been married for 7 years, solid years I thought. We weren't perfect, but we had trust. Shared routines. A pattern lock on her phone we both knew by heart. That's why the little changes started gnawing at me even when I tried to shrug them off. She started taking her phone everywhere, bathroom, bedroom, even when she was just watering the plants out back. I'd catch her texting, angling the screen away from me, her fingers quick and secretive. One night, I noticed she'd switched to a fingerprint lock. Easier this way, she mumbled when I asked, not meeting my eyes. I nodded, swallowed the unease. We'd always been open. Why was that changing now? Marcus didn't help. He was always around, especially when I wasn't. I worked long shifts at the warehouse and he'd volunteer to keep Claire company. Said he was job hunting online, but I'd come home to find him sprawled on our couch, beer in hand while she cooked dinner. Just chilling, bro, he'd say, that damn smirk flickering. I got him a job at the warehouse, pulled strings with my supervisor, figured it'd get him back on his feet. Dumb move. He took it, but somehow his shifts never lined up with mine. Convenient, right? The real kicker came one night, maybe a month in. I woke up at 3 a.m., bed empty beside me. Claire wasn't there. I padded downstairs, found her in the living room, hunched over her laptop. The screen snapped shut the second I stepped in. Couldn't sleep, she said, her voice too tight, too quick. Her eyes darted to the side, avoiding mine. I stood there, barefoot on the cold floor, feeling like an intruder in my own house. You okay? I asked. She nodded, forced a smile. I went back to bed, but sleep didn't come. Something was off, small, slippery, like a thread unraveling. I told myself it was nothing. Stress maybe. Marcus being around. But deep down, I knew I was lying to myself. The cracks were spreading and I was too stubborn to see the collapse coming. It all came crashing down last week. I'd been ignoring the signs, Claire's secrecy, Marcus's constant presence, the way they'd go quiet when I walked into a room. But you can't ignore a gut punch like $19,000 disappearing from your joint account. I'd logged in to pay the electric bill and there it was, half our savings gone. Transfers trickled out over 2 months, sneaky little drips to some account I didn't recognize. My hands shook as I scrolled through the statements, the numbers screaming what my brain didn't want to hear. I confronted Claire that night. She was in the kitchen, stirring soup like nothing was wrong. Where's the money? I asked, voice steady even though my chest was caving in. She didn't even flinch, just turned, looked me dead in the eye and laughed. What did you expect, Ethan? She said, her tone sharp as a blade. Marcus and I are leaving. He's got ambition unlike you. You were just convenient. My brother strutted and then, that smirk plastered on his face like a badge of honor. She was never happy with you, man, he said, leaning against the counter. Too blind to see it. Oh, and thanks for the startup cash, big plans ahead. I stood there, frozen, as Claire grabbed bags she'd already packed. Guess that explains her errands lately. She slid her wedding ring off, the one we'd chosen at that tiny shop on Main Street, and dropped it in the trash. Clink. You were just a stepping stone, she said, brushing past me. Marcus clapped me on the shoulder like it was all a joke. Catch you later, bro. They walked out and I didn't move. Didn't yell. Didn't swing at him like he probably expected. I just watched, calm as a still lake, while my life of 7 years vanished out the door. They thought they'd broken me. Thought I'd crumble. But what they didn't know, what I hadn't told anyone, was that I'd seen this coming. For weeks I'd been piecing it together, waiting. They wanted their fun and I let them have it. Now, standing in that empty kitchen, the ring glinting in the trash, I knew one thing for sure. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something they'd never see coming. I'm parked outside a diner right now, the neon sign buzzing in the dark. It's 2 a.m. April 1st, 2025, and my fingers are flying across my phone, spilling this mess out for anyone who'll listen. Marcus and Claire think they've won, waltzed off with my money, my trust, my life. They're probably toasting their cleverness somewhere, laughing at the sucker they left behind. Let them have their moment. They don't know I've been playing a different game, one they'll regret stepping into. See, I've known about them for weeks. It wasn't just the missing money that tipped me off, it was the build-up. The late-night whispers I'd catch through the walls, the way Claire's eyes lit up when Marcus bragged about his plans. I didn't blow up when I figured it out. Didn't confront them right away. Instead, I got quiet. Those long shifts at the warehouse? Half the time, I was holed up in the break room, digging through bank records, piecing together their moves. Every guy's night, at the bar, was me meeting with an old buddy who knows tech, pulling deleted texts from our shared cloud. I've got screenshots, timestamps, proof they thought I'd never find. They're sloppy, arrogant, really. Thought I was too dumb to notice, too soft to fight back. But I've been building something bigger than rage or a fist to Marcus's smug face. I'm not gonna key their car or drunk dial Claire begging her to come back. That's what they expect. Some loud, messy breakdown. No, I'm colder than that. While they were plotting their little escape, I was setting traps. Every move they made, I documented. Every lie they told, I filed away. They've got no idea what's coming, and that's the beauty of it. Tonight I'm calm. Focused. They're out there celebrating, thinking they've outsmarted me. In a few days they'll see what kind of man they crossed. I've got calls to make tomorrow, pieces to shift. This isn't over, not even close. I'll update when it starts to hit. For now, I'm just sitting here watching the diner's lights flicker, knowing the real storm's about to break. Looking back, I should have suspected Marcus was up to more than just stealing my wife. It started 6 months ago, before he even moved in. He'd call from Nevada, bragging about his side hustles and smart investments. A new Jeep, weekend trips to Vegas, cashmere jackets that screamed money he shouldn't have had. His landscaping gig was debt, so where was it coming from? I'd nod along, chalk it up to his usual hot air. But when he showed up at our door, broke and begging, those boasts didn't add up. Then Claire started defending him. He knows how to make money move, she'd snap whenever I questioned it, rolling her eyes like I was the idiot. The real clues came after he settled in. At a family dinner, he let slip about a ski trip to Colorado. Dates that lined up with a week he'd told me he was slaving away on a warehouse inventory project. I knew those projects inside out. I'd been there 10 years. The numbers he threw around, big contracts, fat bonuses, didn't match what I saw on the job. Small inconsistencies at first, but they piled up like loose change. I kept my mouth shut, started watching. Every time he flashed a new watch or pair of boots, I jotted it down. Every project he name-dropped, I cross-checked. Then I hit gold. Claire forgot to clear our shared cloud storage. Old habit from when we trusted each other. Buried in there were receipts she didn't mean for me to see. Invoices for supplies the warehouse never ordered, expense reports padded with fake overtime, payments to vendors that didn't exist. It wasn't just my money they were taking. Marcus was skimming from the company and Claire was helping him shuffle it through shell accounts. They weren't masterminds, they were cocky and careless. For 3 months I built a file, every transaction, every lie, every screenshot. I wasn't about to let them drag me down when the hammer fell. And I knew it would. I'd make sure of it. They thought they were untouchable, but I was stacking the deck, waiting for the perfect moment to flip the table. A week after they walked out, I made my move. Marcus and Claire were still riding high. New apartment, new car, my $19,000 fueling their smug little fantasy. I'd been sitting on my evidence, letting them think they'd gotten away clean. But I wasn't about to let them build their castle on my ruins. Last Monday, I dialed the warehouse's ethics hotline from a burner phone. Kept it short, anonymous, dropped just enough. Project names, dates, a nudge toward the fake invoices. Then I followed it with an email attaching a single screenshot. Nothing traceable, just a taste of what I had. Enough to spark an audit. By noon it hit. My buddy at work texted me. Marcus got called into the supervisor's office. 2 hours later he was escorted out, cardboard box in his arms, face pale as a ghost. No yelling, no big scene, just a quiet, humiliating exit. I wasn't there to see it, but I could picture that smirk melting off him. He knew it was me. Couldn't prove it, but he knew. That night, Claire called, voice shrill through the line. "How could you do this to your own brother Ethan?" she shrieked like I was the villain. I laughed, same cold laugh Marcus gave me when he stole my life, and hung up. Let her scream into the void. The fallout was quick. Word spread through the warehouse. Marcus was done. His reputation in the industry? Toast. Those investment wins they'd been living on? Drying up fast. They'd put a deposit on a condo with my money, but now they were scrambling to back out. Friends started texting me, our mutual crew, guys I'd known since high school. "Saw the red flags, man, didn't know how to tell you," they said. Even Marcus's old drinking buddies ghosted him. Nobody wants to be tied to a thief who'd screw over his own blood. Their perfect little world was cracking, and I'd barely lifted a finger, just pointed the right people at the truth. This was only the start. They'd built their house on sand, and I was the tide coming in. 2 weeks later, their shiny new life was a pile of rubble, and I couldn't help but enjoy the show. Last Thursday I was sipping coffee at home when my phone lit up. Text from my neighbor, Jess, who'd been keeping tabs. She sent a video. Marcus and Claire, out on their apartment lawn, screaming like banshees. He was in pajama pants, hair wild, yelling about how they were screwed, and how Claire swore it'd all work out. She was hurling his shirts onto the grass, shrieking, "You ruined everything, I gave up a stable life for this." Neighbors peeked out windows, some filming, but they were too lost in their meltdown to notice. Jess said it went viral in the neighborhood group chat. They'd burned through my money fast. Fancy dinners, that car, loans they took out using our family's old storage business as collateral. Without Marcus's job, the bills crushed them. Rent was late, creditors were calling, and the car payments? Forget it. They begged our family for help, but I'd already shown Mom the receipts, literal and figurative. My cousin recorded Marcus pleading with her over the phone. "You made your bed with my other son's wife," she snapped. "Lie in it." Click. Mom's always had a way of cutting through the bullshit. Last weekend I was at our family cookout. Mom's ribs, cold beer, real laughs. Marcus and Claire? Probably eating canned soup in their crumbling apartment. Aunt Linda, who'd always doted on Marcus, pulled me aside. "I'm sorry I didn't see him for what he was," she said, hugging me tight. The support was overwhelming. Turns out loyalty isn't just blood. Meanwhile, Claire tried messaging me on Instagram. "Ethan, can we talk?" I messed up. I left her on read. She posted some sappy regret quotes. Marcus countered with a Facebook rant calling her ungrateful. Classy. Yesterday I drove my new Tacoma, bought with my promotion bonus, past them arguing outside a loan shop. Marcus looked like he hadn't shaved in days. Claire's designer clothes were fraying. Their castle was sand and the tide was high. A week after their lawn meltdown, Marcus and Claire were clawing at scraps, and I was just watching the pieces fall. Claire kept trying to worm her way back. Instagram DMs begging, "Ethan, can we talk?" I made a huge mistake. I didn't bite. She flooded her stories with sad quotes about regret and second chances, fishing for pity. Marcus saw it, lost his mind, went on a Facebook tirade calling her as bad as her ex, meaning me, and ungrateful for everything I gave her. Real mature bro. Their online circus was almost as good as the real one Jess caught on video. They had to sell the car, my money's car, last week. I drove by them yesterday in my Tacoma, windows down, radio up. They were outside a payday loan joint, arguing again. Marcus's beard was patchy, his shirt wrinkled. Claire's designer wardrobe looked second-hand already. Jess said their fights are nightly now, screaming through thin apartment walls. Turns out Claire caught Marcus texting his ex on WhatsApp, probably hunting for his next mark. The irony's thick enough to choke on. She's been asking around about jobs. Her lifestyle blogger dream isn't paying the rent. Shocker. Marcus tried the family angle again. Drunk texted me at 2 a.m., "Help us man, we're drowning," then flipped to threats, "You'll regret this." I didn't reply. They're meeting the bank tomorrow about defaulted loans. Marcus let that slip in one of his rants. Our cousin saw him at a dive bar, slurring about how life's unfair over cheap whiskey. Claire's posting couple-wide damage control on Facebook, weathering the storm together, but nobody's buying it. Friends keep texting me saying they're done with them. I didn't have to lift a finger this time, just let their lies unravel. I'm sleeping fine, working out, killing it at the warehouse. They're imploding and I've got a front row seat. Some bridges you don't rebuild, you just watch them burn from the shore. It's been a month since their world started caving in, and I didn't think it could get uglier, but it has. Last Tuesday I was grabbing coffee downtown when my cousin Tara spilled the latest. Marcus and Claire are 3 months behind on rent. Their landlord's threatening eviction, and they can't even afford a U-Haul to get out. Tara said Marcus has been calling every relative, begging for cash, voice shaky, promises empty. Nobody's biting. Claire's job took a hit too. Word got around about her helping Marcus cook the warehouse books. No charges, but in this town whispers are enough. She's stuck shuffling papers, her big promotion dreams dead. Then Marcus showed up at my door last week, reeking of booze and desperation. Unshaven, wearing a stained hoodie I recognized from months ago, he swayed on my porch. "Ethan, you gotta help me," he slurred. "Just a couple grand to get us straight. I'm your brother, man." I stared at him, the shadow of the guy who smirked while stealing my life. "How's that happiness working out now?" I said, echoing his taunt from the day they left. He mumbled about mom worrying, trying to guilt me. I shut the door, let him stumble off. He blew up my phone later, voicemails swinging from sobs to curses, blaming me for his mess. "Claire texted 3 days ago, can we talk?" I made a huge mistake. I laughed out loud, sent her a photo, her tossing our ring in the trash, calling me a stepping stone. She fired back with crying emojis, excuses about Marcus manipulating her, then, "You're being cruel, Ethan." Cruel? No, this is me, the real me they never bothered to know. Yesterday Tara saw them fighting in a Walmart parking lot. Marcus yelling about her blowing their cash on bags, Claire chucking lipsticks at him, screaming he'd promised her better. They're done. Marcus crashing on mom's couch, Claire on Tinder claiming separated. They wanted to bury me. Instead they dug their own graves. It's April 1st, 2025 and I'm typing this from a better place. Not just the diner parking lot, but my life. A year ago I thought losing Claire was the end of me. Now I see it was the start of something stronger. Marcus and Claire wanted to write some epic romance, stepping over me to get there. Instead they scripted a train wreck and I've got the best view of the wreckage. I barely had to push, just nudged the truth into the light and watched them trip over their own lies. The stolen money, the betrayal, the arrogance, it all collapsed like a bad bet. I'm thriving. Got a promotion last month, more hours, better pay. Started hitting the gym, shedding the weight of their mess. Met someone new too, Sarah, a nurse with a quick laugh and no ties to my brother. She's real, honest, the kind of person who doesn't need to climb over anyone to stand tall. We're taking it slow, but it feels right. Meanwhile, Marcus is on mom's couch, drowning in whiskey and self-pity, telling barflies he had it all before Claire. She's swiping right on Tinder, spinning tales of a fresh start, but her old designer bags aren't fooling anyone. Their Facebook posts, some week still fighting nonsense, fizzled out when they switched to "it's complicated." Fitting. Mom called today, said Marcus keeps blaming me in family chats. I've got the screenshots, him whining, Claire chiming in about my cold heart. They're a circus and I'm done buying tickets. Friends, family, even Aunt Linda, they're all Team Ethan now. Blood's thick but trust is thicker. Marcus and Claire thought I'd be their stepping stone. I turned out to be the rock they shattered against. Life's funny like that, throws you a curveball then hands you the bat. I'm swinging now and it feels damn good. Some bridges stay burned and I'm fine walking the high ground alone, or lately with better company.